who will have the bigger impact in terms of momentum, motivation, outcome of the game? Will it be Nick Saban or will it be Johnny Manziel?
Well, this is an interesting question for me because what Nick Saban has built at Alabama, I don't really think there's any college coach in the country that can do that. But when you talk about game day and you say which person is more important, I got to say Johnny Manziel. He is the most exciting player in all of football right now. He's the guy that everybody has to tune in to watch.
On the collegiate level and
no, I think both.
I agree with
I think both. He's the one. I think he's the one guy in football that you have to see play. Period. The things that he can do. And without Johnny Manziel, Texas A&M has no chance. Without Nick Saban, at least on game day, Alabama has a chance. With this defense at Texas A&M, they better hope Johnny Manziel can score a lot of points.
Texas A&M, Bama. Stephen A., you hear what Robert Smith just said? He is the most exciting player, period.
Well, first of all, I heard what Robert Smith said, and I appreciate his excellence as a college football analyst because he's very prophetic. We all know this. He's absolutely right on the money. But let's also take a moment to remind everybody of something here. Yes, Johnny Football is the show. He's the biggest show in all of college football. He's a game-breaking, a game-changing. I expect him to have a big-time day Saturday. But like Robert Smith, beautiful last name, by the way, so eloquently stated, you know, he's going to need all the points he can get because Alabama's coming. Keep in mind, y'all, that last year they spotted Texas A&M 20 points. Keep in mind, they still compiled 431 yards. It's just the 3 turnovers, including the one in the last minute and a half when McCarron threw the interception to Everett. Everett stepped in front of him, and that basically cost them the game. They was at the 2-yard line in a position. They were down 29-24. Could have won the game. So understand that Nick Saban seemed as if he sort of figured out Johnny Football in the second half. Now, the question is, based on Rice and Sam Houston State, have we seen anything from Johnny Football that leads us to believe he's considerably better than what we saw against Alabama last year?
Yes.
I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know the answer to that question. Okay. All right, I accept that.
Well, this is the thing that I'll say about Johnny Manziel, though. He's one of those kind of guys. There's a reason he wasn't named the starter, and it wasn't just because he got in the bar fight last summer. This is the kind of guy, until you get him into a game, you have absolutely no idea what he's going to do. That's part of the fun of watching Johnny Football. Do I think Alabama is better? Do I think that they made adjustments, even in the second quarter, starting in the second quarter last year? They did a much better job. They started to get the wide rush ends. They brought Lester down in the box this year. They'll bring Vinny Sunseri down in the box. Even when they had all of that, there were still times when Johnny Manziel was able to make a play. So I'm not just going to dismiss these guys automatically. Johnny Manziel, he is something to watch. He really is.
And listen, I have said that on this show before. If I had to pay my money to watch one player in pro or college football, it would be Johnny Football. Because every night is something that makes me sit back and say, wow. Against Sam Houston State, he made me sit back and say, wow. Because Stephen A., he has improved as a pocket passer. He did go to the guru, George Whitfield, in the offseason. I don't know when he found time, but he did work in some time with George on serious football because he's much more patient and poised and less likely to bolt from the pocket. And he can throw sweet balls from the pocket, mid-range darts or rainbows into the backside of the end zone to streaking wide receivers.
Yes. Question. I need both y'all help on this. Can we really say that when it's Rice and Sam Houston State I saw a Johnny Football that sat back there. Robert, he seemed like he sat back there, called his pops to find out when tea time was, called his girlfriend, called his boys, hold on, let me just throw this touchdown. All right, let me get back. All right, anyway, what are y'all doing this afternoon? That's what it seemed like to me. He had nothing but time. That's not going to happen against Alabama. You're not going to have that kind of comfort level?
Well,
I don't think.
But I'll say this about Johnny Manziel, though. And yes, it was Sam Houston State. It was Rice. But we saw him do this against Florida last year. Didn't win the game. We saw him do it against LSU last year. And as good as some of these runs have been, try and find this third down run he had against LSU last year. Try and go back and watch this run. His escapability is like second to none. He made these throws against LSU. He made these throws against Alabama last year, even in that second half. So I'm not really concerned about what he was or wasn't able to do against Rice and Sam Houston State.
Okay.
I know he can do it against the big boys. My questions are more about the receivers that have changed. Everybody's talked about the offensive linemen that have departed for Alabama. Well, A&M's lost some very good linemen, too. They lost a 4-year starter at center in Lewis, and obviously we know they lost Luke Jokel, and now Matthews has got to go over to the left side from the right side. And we talk about the way that Nick Saban and Kirby Smart make their defensive adjustments. I'm just saying, with a guy like Johnny Manziel, I know he can do it. I think he's better than he was last year.